Wisconsin became part of the Union on May 29, 1848. America's Dairyland, home of Culver's, Leinenkugels, Summerfest, and the Green Bay Packers. Birthplace of Gene Wilder, Liberace, Frank Lloyd Wright, Georgia O'Keeffe, Chris Farley himself, Ed Gein, Jeffrey Dahmer. UFO sightings happen on a daily basis. It has more haunted locations than it does bars. The devil himself created a playground tucked into its forests. For these reasons and many others, America's Dairyland is also America's Scaryland!
All right, welcome to this probing of America's Scaryland. This episode is part 2 of Weary Road.
Yeah, we're returning to some stuff to check some things out again.
And we have in the studio one of my oldest friends, a special guest, Frank Moran.
Hello, everyone.
Frank came on this probing with us. And
Sure did.
Who is us, by the way?
Oh yeah, we're Nick and Jake.
Yeah.
If you don't know who we are by now, then just fast forward.
Just quit now.
So I guess the thing is that I don't know how we're going to orientate this, but I'm already abandoning the idea of doing a false opening for wherever we put this in the 2-part episodes. So there we go.
It'll probably be at one of the parts.
It's either going to be the beginning, the first part, or the second part. So
Could be the middle.
That's you fixing it in post.
Shit. Gotta do some work. Well, I'm going to treat this like it's the beginning, because we're going to go with, as we usually do, what would booze do?
On that note, quickly.
Oh, shit.
Curveball. Yeah. The gentleman to my left here, the fun little jingle that you've heard for the opening of What Would Booze Do is brought to you by this man right here.
Yeah.
Oh, good job, Frank.
Oh, thanks.
Sounded great.
It's like we heard it live.
Oh, man. I am like... It sounds amazing. It's so good.
It really does. And it's a good thing we put a pause in there for a jingle to be added.
Yeah. I mean, you'll fix it in post.
Yeah,
Yeah, it'll all work out.
Fuck.
You're the editor now.
Shit.
That was the deal we struck.
Got promoted and I didn't even know it. But I did. So can I do the What Would Booze Do?
Let's do What Would Booze Do.
Jingle. Okay. So for those of you who don't know, again, this is Nick does our Facebook postings, and he tends to, on top of many things, he usually throws out a random question every week.
Some sort of interaction, yeah.
Something, but
that I now actively avoid because of this.
it's good. But we never get Nick's side of things because he asks the questions and then he just expects everyone else to do the work by answering them. So I bring them back and make him answer. So this one is kind of fitting for the night because it's kind of spooky. So we're going to go with, has anyone out there had any experiences with exorcisms? Anyone been a part of one, witnessed one, had a demon exorcise from themselves? If so, what was your experience? And I'm going to add on to this, Nick. Do you have a belief in demons or possession?
All right. My first inclination right now is because we have a guest in the studio, I'm going to have him answer it first.
You're getting really good at deflecting work for this podcast.
Oh, I sure am. I'm making it a habit. So yeah, Frank, that question to you as our first guest, actually.
Yeah.
Possibly, who knows? Maybe only guest.
Probably.
We'll see how this goes, right? I've done some exercising of demons at Planet Fitness, among other institutions across the great state of Wisconsin. No, I don't know anyone who's been exorcised, or really I've never heard of a person-in-person testimony from anyone that I know of.
And then on top of that, so I know where you were going with that second part of the question, the follow-up. He doesn't. We still have the working title out there, but I go for the America's Scaryland Boschel Scale of Believability, or I think so.
You think that's what you
I think that's what I'm calling it.
What is this?
It's
go
a
with
scale.
The magic scale of what do you believe in?
Yeah, so Jake and I perfected this very scientific scale.
It's an amazing T-shirt. Buy the T-shirt.
Get the T-shirt. If they're not out yet, they will be.
They're out. They're out there.
So, 0, it's much like the pain scale when you go to a doctor. 0, nothing hurts you. 10, I think a limb fell off.
Got it.
Okay? But it's believability in the paranormal. So, 0, you don't believe in anything. 10, You probably had your anal probed, your butthole probed by the aliens.
And you got a nice picture.
And you got a nice picture.
Souvenir. Only $10.
So Jake and I, we bring this up pretty much every episode. I reside at about actually after the last episode, I revamped it a little because I was sitting at a solid 1, and I revamped it to a 2 because I want to believe in stuff. I have never had an experience of any sort of paranormal anything. Jake resides at 7, 8-ish. 8-ish. So I will, while you're thinking where you reside, I'm going to pull up we have a graphic.
Okay.
So I'm going to pull up the graphic so you can see like the level of professionalism that we're bringing to this podcast, because it's important for you to know how serious we are.
You can tell how professional we are with this audio podcast that Nick is bringing up visual content.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I have a face for radio.
Is this in your Paint app?
No, I don't have a Paint app on the
okay.
iPad. But I mean, we could do some banter right now because
So like one is, I believe,
Nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
One is nothing.
The lower the number, the less you believe.
And 10,
Exactly.
I believe it to my soul.
You own a ghost in your house.
Got
Yes.
it. Yeah. I speak to them regularly.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm hoping that Nick's number jumps up as we go through this. I'm hoping
We'll see.
we experience some things. I'm hoping also that my number doesn't in fact lower. That
Or
would
go higher.
I mean, it could go higher. I'm fine with that, but I'm waiting for the day where it's like Jake said, a 2, because fuck this shit, nothing ever happens. So I'm hoping, I want to meet an alien
I mean,
or a ghosty.
that pretty much already happened, but I had to talk you off the ledge.
Did it?
You text me, you're like, what do we do if
Oh,
nothing
no.
happens?
Yeah.
So here we go. This is our super scientific scale.
All right. It looks like a thermometer.
No.
Upside down.
No, that's a scale of believability. In the
Got it.
paranormal.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking Frank, come on. Man. Never having any guests again.
Never. You ruined it for everyone. One bad apple.
Frank can't take this shit serious.
Yeah, you've seen it long.
Yeah, I've seen it.
You know how to count to 10.
Yes.
Pick a number.
I think I have to go with 1.
Oh,
I
so
know.
you're much. I'm the only one that believes in any of this
He's my
stuff.
neighbor.
Oh, okay.
We live on the same street.
Raise your hand though if you don't believe in this stuff yet. You pee your pants whenever we go anywhere.
That's not true. I pee outside multiple times.
You should see a doctor. I'm concerned.
It's not that bad.
So, do you believe in demons and stuff?
So now it's my
Where's your
turn.
belief at that?
All right. I will say that I believe in demons and like angels, that sort of stuff. Like having been brought up Roman Catholic, not practicing anymore because the whole pee-pee touching thing. Not to me, but all those poor children out there.
Just so that guy you know.
I mean, hey, it is Weary Road, so pedophiles are on my mind.
It
Right,
happened to a
right.
friend of a friend. I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm saying for a friend. That kind of got rooted in me. I do believe that there is evil and good out there, and like I truly believe that there are like demons out there for real. Like the actual manifestation, like a little red guy with a tail, with a pitchfork, a pitched tail. Like maybe not, but like true evil, yes, and that's what I would call a demon.
So, do you believe in like the possibility of possession in general?
I believe that there's fucked up shit out there. And again, I circle back to this every single time we talk about any of these most of the time, except Sasquatch, because that one is like, that's my fam.
Just because you're hairy doesn't make you family.
Yeah, but if you have knuckles hair on your toes, your toe knuckles have hair, yeah.
That sentence got there.
Yeah.
Okay.
It landed. I think that there's definitely some messed up shit out there. I don't know if it's a psychiatric thing or if it's a true possession by some sort of entity, but I've never seen it. Again, and I'm like we just got done talking about. Like we talked about this tonight in the car, and for those of it that know, I'm a giant pussy when it comes to actually being anywhere. If you watched any of the Snap stories, I'm a bitch. And
At least you can admit it.
yeah, well, but we were talking about how once my cherry gets popped of actually seeing something or experiencing something, it might lessen my cowardness, I guess, or my like being scared of all this stuff because I'm like, oh, yeah, I saw that. Wasn't that bad.
Now I'm the opposite, man. If I saw something like that, I'd be like, oh, I would be way more afraid of everything.
So
because I'm like,
would you-
if that's real, then my whole outlook is.
I was wrong
completely-
this
So
whole
would you
time.
jump?
Right.
Would you jump to a 10 on the scale, or would you resort
No,
like
no.
Like would you
So-
go into the negative numbers? You're like, I just don't believe this anymore at all.
just
I
like,
refuse.
La 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 la. Can't hear you. Can't see you. No, I think I would definitely go up a couple numbers if I witnessed something.
Yeah, and that's why I sit at a 2 because like
And I witnessed something and I like got it on camera or the voice recorder picked it up,
Yeah.
Then, but if it was just like my observable and my my observations and my memory, then I can, that could be fallible, I think. Even though that was a real, occurrence, but you could have a skewed memory of it or something else. So, I don't know. That's why I'm at a 1.
Well, okay, so I was saving this for this chat, and I mean, bear in there, listeners. We're gonna get to the meat of this probing at some point in the next hour,
Probably.
But so Frank and I, quick rundown. Frank and I grew up together. We're practically brothers. I've known him over 32. You're 31.
Yeah.
Like I've
We
known
met-
you
I was
when
like
we're
5.
5.
Yeah.
So like that long, whatever that math is.
25, 26
Yeah.
years.
The fact that I've known you for 2 decades just baffles me.
Yeah.
But didn't you tell me at one point that the house in Jim Falls, your grandparents' house, like some weird shit went down there? Or was that
Yeah.
like, did you ever see something there, or
I
just
never
like
saw anything
what your
there.
brothers told you, or what
Yeah,
your mom
my-
told you?
Yeah, my little brother had what do you call it? It's sleep paralysis. It's when you wake up from a dream and your body's still paralyzed, but you can't move. You can't move, but you're awake and kind of still in a dream state. And he said he saw what he thought was the devil, and is like this black figure standing on the bed across from him, where I think my other little brother was sleeping at the time. And he couldn't move, and that was kind of his thing. And I actually had an experience like that later.
You had sleep paralysis?
Yeah.
We've talked about it before. Like I've had it 3 distinctive times in my
Okay.
life, and it is fucking terrifying.
It is, yeah.
And I've heard on other. I'm just like doing some research and stuff into it. Like I didn't know there was this supposed realm called shadow people,
Okay.
and a lot of people, when they have sleep paralysis, claim that they see shadow people. And
Yeah, they
Did-
kind
what
of go
about
hand
you?
in hand.
Yeah, did you see
so
shadow?
mine was my own manifestation of like, because you remember my room in Chippewa, the one that Guy painted.
Yes.
The jungle room.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so I'll quick rundown, but like, because Kel Container was right there, and it was constantly, the light was constantly shining in that field, and there was just constantly a low hum. I always factored, when I laid in my bed, I couldn't see directly out my window. I'd see like, angle like that.
Right.
And I always had myself convinced that a UFO could have landed out there and I would never have fucking seen it. And that's why I always slept with the blinds down, because I was just like, oh, I don't want to be touched. The very first time it happened, I was trying to scream for my parents, and I could hear myself screaming, but nothing was coming out. And I don't know, I want to say it was between the ages of 13 and 15. And I don't distinctly remember any figures, but over the last, 16 years, like I could have added stuff to that in my own mind.
Yeah.
But I just remember being absolutely terrified, more than I've even admitted on the show or anything. Because, like you said, it's your brain wakes up before your body does. So you're
Yeah.
still in that paralysis stage that you go into when you're in REM, and so your eyes are working. Most of your functions besides your mobility is working. So you are paralyzed, and it's just fucking terrifying.
Yeah. And you come straight out of a dream. So it's like, like there's this like blend of reality and dreaming going on in your brain. Because when I woke up, I was convinced that there was a witch inside my closet door, and it was a shadow. It was a shadow like my brother had described, just this like shadow, and it was this witch staring at me, and I just couldn't move, and I, what do I do? Oh my gosh, this witch! And then I was like, wait a second, witches aren't real. And I'm like, wait, this is sleep paralysis.
God, you're a witch!
And then like I like kind of like just shook my body, like got out of it. But like when I like finally could move again, I was like, I still had that like fear, but I was like, okay, no, it wasn't a witch. I just had sleep paralysis. But,
Man, that's way more. I would have been like, there's a witch in my closet. And even if I was like, oh, I'm just having sleep paralysis, I would have been like, there's still a fucking witch in my closet.
Jake,
and I'm paralyzed.
Jake, this offer is not going to last long. You can get McAfee for $29.99 right now.
Act now.
Activate it now.
Red button.
Right
Press
now.
the red button.
Push the red button. Oh.
No,
come on.
McAfee needs to fuck off. So I've talked to you a couple of times about a couple of the things that I've experienced.
Right.
I don't know if it would be shadow people. I feel like we've taken a shadow people route here for a moment.
For the moment, yeah.
I remember distinctly one time I was sleeping in bed, and I had a girlfriend at the time next to me, and
like next to you in bed or next
yeah, next to me in
or
bed.
Do you guys have separate beds?
No, we were in the same bed. She was right there sleeping, and the way that the place that we lived actually had like our back door was in the bedroom, so right next to the bed
was the back patio door.
Yeah, and I distinctly remember I thought I was awake, maybe I wasn't, I'm not sure, but I saw a shadow go across my wall, and I just immediately went, someone broke into my house, because I was living in a really shit town in Iowa, and I'm like, so somebody just fucking broke in my house, and I swear to God, I heard shit moving around in my kitchen, in my living room. I heard voices. I was like, there's someone in this fucking
I really
house.
wish you would have finished that sentence with I heard shit moving around in my bowels.
No. See, I went the other way that like you would think, which is I woke her up and I was like, someone broke into our fucking house. And the way that the light switches were set up was you could flick one switch at the end of the hall and it would turn a lamp on in the living room. So I grabbed...
That's almost like the Google Home.
I unscrewed... This was before Google had control.
Yes.
I unscrewed a table leg.
Probably before Yahoo, I would imagine, too.
And it was right about that time.
It was back in the Ask Jeeves days.
I unscrewed the table leg to my nightstand, and I walked to the end of the hallway, and I was like, when you see me get down there, flip the switch, I'm going to jump out and beat their ass with this piece of wood. And she flipped the switch, I jumped out, completely empty room. Yeah. And I swear to God it was there.
Because when light's abundant, there's no shadows.
Yeah,
so you just ran away.
Yeah, no, I don't know if it was a ghost or if I was dreaming, but I just distinctly remember, no, this shit was real.
What did that ghost whisper in your ear in the other story when you and Alex? You're like,
oh,
did he say like Dave or something? He like whispered a name in your ear.
He's like Mike.
It's something to do with a pencil.
Oh, I grabbed a pencil because my brain didn't go ghost. My brain went, someone broke into my apartment. Pencil, stab them in the eye with it because they're gonna come in here trying to rape me or something. I'm gonna stab them in the eye.
I mean, it is Iowa.
You see, this is the difference, though, is I immediately go for what weapon can I use to bludgeon the intruder to death in my home.
So, intruders, rapists, shadow people brings us to the topic of the evening, Weary Road.
Part
2.
We went back to Mr. Weary's supposed residence to see if the possibly maybe pedophile guy was there.
So, as you remember from part 1, you wouldn't have been able to see it visually, but audibly, you probably picked up on the fact that I was very salty.
Yeah.
Because I was sleep deprived, and Jake was not happy with my actions on the actual Weary Road because...
Well, hold on. Let's just state for the record that your sleep depravity... Depravity? That's probably not the right word.
Deprivation?
Whatever. Your lack of sleep had really nothing to do with your saltiness. It was your complete and total cowardice and... spookifiedness.
It was being woken up, making a plan to get somewhere at a certain time, oversleeping, and then begrudgingly going to this place that I was not thrilled about going because, again, it had to do with ghosts. And, so then it transcended because we recorded immediately after getting back, and I was still, unlike tonight where it's been about 3 hours, I was still reeling from just not wanting to be there. And we were also then recording at like 6 a.m. And yeah.
Yeah, but this time we brought Frank with us.
We brought Frank, and for those of you who don't know Frank, if I were a ghost, the way that Frank is built and put together physically, he is like Vin Diesel and Arnold Schwarzenegger had a cousin that they sometimes would give like protein drinks to, like family reunions and stuff.
I think he's hitting on you, but I'm unsure.
It sounds like it.
But either way, he's a big man. He's like if I was a ghost, I wouldn't fuck with him. The only paranormal creature that I think could stand up to Frank, again, I'm biased on this, is Bigfoot. It's the only one that I think would go toe-to-toe with Frank in the ring, however many rounds boxers go. But
Frank, how would you describe your physical?
I'm about average height, pretty slim build. Arnold Schwarzenegger? Nah.
Maybe Arnold Schwarzenegger today. But we got you out there again, and this time we were able to get you to actually stop the car.
I got out a couple times.
You did.
Mainly because I had to pee. Nothing for probing or anything of that sort, but yeah, mainly because I had to pee.
So real quick, let's recap, just in case they don't listen to part one of this. Weary Road is a stretch of highway, I guess you'd call it, maybe a back road.
Yeah, it's definitely like a back road.
Its main portion is a starch 90-degree turn onto a bridge that then flows into a tunnel of trees.
Mm-hmm. It's located in Evansville, for those of you who don't know.
Yeah.
The geographical location. It's in Evansville, Wisconsin. I don't know what the highway numbers or lettering is, but
it's close to 14.
Yeah.
So the story goes that there was an old man, Mr. Weary, that lived out there. He's this rich old guy, owned a lot of land. Possible pedophile. He liked to have the kids around. And one day the parents got tired of this, apparently, and burned his house down with him inside and apparently
supposedly kids,
some kids. So the legend goes that you can see his ghost, you can hear the kids. There's sometimes some mist, and I think there was something about green lights.
Yeah. The light thing, man, with all of these things that we probe into, like, the light thing just kind of, I don't know, because a lot of the locations we've been, some of them are desolate, but at the same time, like, you can see city lights. And so it's just, when I hear lights and stuff like this, it's just hard for me to be like, oh, yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, there's a radio tower right there. Mm-hmm. There's some sort of, not maybe factory. I don't know. It's out kind of like
silos.
Yeah.
Buildings.
So, I mean, it's hard for me to be like, yeah, the light thing. I mean, if it was above the horizon and it was moving erratically, unlike like a helicopter or an airplane would, yeah, that's a little more of a easy pill to swallow. But lights on the road could be a car. I mean, tonight there was a shit ton of fireflies like that.
Yeah.
That fucked with me for a while too. Like,
yeah. Well, and lights are always tough unless you see it, because like, I feel like unless you see it and can be like, no, it was specifically like the way it moved, where it was, its location to other physical objects, I can tell it wasn't. But when someone says, I saw a light, your immediate mind goes to, what could it have been? It could have been this, it could have been that, it could have been,
Yeah.
So lights are a little tough. Mist is also a little hard for me.
Yeah, I agree too.
Just seeing Wisconsin in general, and anywhere really in the Midwest.
Yeah.
The ground, changes temperature, the air changes,
mist,
the temperature
fog, or
fluctuates,
foggy.
and you just get fogged areas.
Yeah, I mean, so I agree. Those two things are just kind of, they're hard. I mean, after digging into this a little bit more for this specific probing for part 2, I glazed over the lore about a creature living in the trees.
Yeah, so there is stories of something that
they
hangs out in the canopy.
Yep,
like
and that's the only creature that I found really any given name to was an imp. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I don't think that Peter Dinklage is like hanging out in the tree canopy sort of thing, or...
Well, and Frank brought up an interesting point that I was going to either have him talk about or say myself. But...
So before we go down that road,
yeah,
I hate the fact that that pun just came out of my mouth because I didn't intentionally.
I didn't even get it.
Okay, so that's the brief history. Look it up on the Google machine. The mythology, the lore behind it is you travel down this road 3 times, and on the 3rd time you look down and you look in your rearview mirror, and Mr. Weary is supposed to be at some sort of distance on the road behind you. You look down again, then he gets closer, and repeat until he is in your car with
Yeah,
you.
like in the back seat.
And it's one of those, there's so many different urban myths about it because there's a lot to do, like specifically that 90-degree angle before the bridge. Like you mentioned tonight, you're like, I wonder how many people just peeled right into that tree.
Yeah, because really the only signage there is about 10 feet up in the tree. There's half of the
Half
sign
of the sign,
with
yeah.
an arrow pointing to the left.
Yeah, and like there's a lot of lore about like teenagers getting drunk, and like I think there's one about some teenager car surfing.
There's that. And one that I fully like. There's no actual evidence that I could find of it actually happening, but there's stories of like kids playing chicken out there.
Yep.
And with how narrow that road is, hell yeah, that could happen.
There were 4 cars tonight when
At
we were
least.
out there, and I just didn't even want to fuck around, and I just pulled over and came to a complete stop. 'Cause,
And even
like,
then, like they had to go kind of almost off the road too, just to get around.
Yeah,
it.
I mean, it's
less
a-
than 2 car lengths.
yeah, it's a narrow road. So tonight we found, I don't know, like a quarter of my balls maybe, and muscled up a little bit. We split up for a little bit. We discussed things. We stopped. We actually got there during the daylight because the last time we were there it was like 4 a.m, and we talked about like we got to get pictures for this in the daylight because it's super creepy. Even in the daylight, the tree light,
Yeah.
the tunnel is so immense, and I think it's that bend that's in there too.
Yep.
In the middle of the middle of the tunnel. You look at it, and you look at it from one way. Like if the bridge is behind you, you look at it, and it's black.
Yeah.
Like you can't see light in the distance. It's black.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where when you describe it as a tunnel of trees, it's legit a tunnel.
Yeah.
It's just trees on like a layer of trees on either side, and the canopy goes completely over. It's
And
a
then
tunnel.
the trunks go up pretty high before the branches start, and when the branches start at the canopy, that makes kind of like that tunnel effect.
Yeah.
And they're really close together. It's really cool.
So before we really get into the meat of this, I was purposely keeping Frank out of the loop, but I just want to ask you real quick, Frank, like as we were kind of describing this to you as we were getting there and stuff, what did you have like pictured in your mind about like what were your expectations, and were they met? Were they underseated, overseated, superseated? Like what were you expecting to see?
I was expecting there to be more trees. It was just the trees around the road that made the tunnel. These big trees were really great, but it was farmland. Everywhere
It is
else, it's
surrounded by
it's
all
very,
farmland.
Very open. So I guess
It's your
I was
typical Wisconsin landscape.
exactly. Yeah, I guess I was expecting more of like a forested area.
Yeah, and it's funny because the first time we went, Nick even commented before we got to the bridge, we were both kind of like, oh, it's disappointing because as you're cruising up, it's like a couple of farmhouses and just open fields.
Yeah, and there's like a false tunnel because like when you turn onto the actual Weary Road, you got to go past some farms, you got to go past some train tracks, which is another part of the myth. And then you come up to a spot that you think, because you can see it in the distance, you think is the tree tunnel. But it's actually, it's the false tunnel because there's just trees on just one side.
Yeah.
And then you go around another just 90-degree turn.
And there's the
then
bridge.
you go past some more farmhouses. And then at the end of that is when the bridge is there.
Yeah.
And the bridge just adds to the creepiness. Like,
Yeah, so we described it last time. It's covered in graffiti.
Yeah.
We were lucky this time. Nick noticed it last time and I didn't, but there is a complete red pentagram spray painted right before the tunnel of trees starts. And it's fucking weird that people went out of their way because it's not the only piece of graffiti that's on the actual highway.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is weird. Like the bridge I get, but people actually went to the point of like Frank and I saw it walking. There's like there was a Hillary Clinton one.
a what?
Hillary Clinton.
There, it just says Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
Not even a year?
Nope, just Hillary Clinton. And then there's one that it was the Eye of Ra
Yeah.
and the All-Seeing Pyramid. And then in the middle of those, it says Illuminati. So, yeah, and then there's another weird design thing but like all the way down away from the bridge, there's just graffiti in different points. So it was,
I mean, I noticed some of that driving. Like, you could see some of that, obviously when you're moving that fast, as far as I was going.
Yeah, Nick was
I'm not
calling
going to
the last time.
stop and read it.
Now this bridge too. This bridge isn't very long. I was expecting a bigger bridge.
Yes,
and
yeah.
the bridge is like a car and a half length long over
Yeah,
the
from-
Schitt's Creek.
It is the stupidest fucking place I've ever seen a bridge. And the fact that they call it a bridge, like, it is the dumbest thing I have ever seen in my life. And also the placement of it, like, immediately after a 90-degree turn. Like, it's just...
Yeah. It's road, right turn, you're on a bridge. There you go.
It's like the most inconvenient thing ever that I've ever seen on any road. Like, ugh. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because that bridge was just kind of a thorn in my side the first time. And even now still, I'm just like, that bridge is so... I get that there has to be a bridge there. But like, because like when Jake and I were talking about it in the first part, I expected like an old, creepy, wooden covered bridge.
Yeah.
Like that's what I totally expected. It's not. It's like the big highway bridges, like when you're going over like on 94 when you go over the Wisconsin River, like how that bridge is set up. It's like someone took a 6-foot chunk of it and just put it over this fucking...
It's literally, it looks like just a paved slab.
Yeah.
That they just laid
with
down.
guardrails there.
And the guardrails go to maybe your knee.
Yeah. If you're on a bike, you'd fall over it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, fuck. You walk, you trip, you fall over it.
Yeah. Like,
It's
they're not
stopping
guarding
a car.
shit.
It's
No.
not- You literally could have built a road with a little drainage pipe for the creek that's there. And then
Exactly. That was just
smarter.
Yeah.
Yep.
Instead, they're like...
And the creek wasn't even moving when we were there. It was just stagnant.
Oh, there's so much algae on it. Like,
Yeah.
it looked like it just blended in with the fucking farmland because it was so green and just like, ugh. So we did something a little interesting this time around. So we got there right at sunset. Jake and I finally timed out a probing where we didn't have to sit in the car for an hour to an hour and a half waiting for the sun to go down.
It's weird if you Google sunset, it tells you exactly what time
I know, but we Googled sunset when we went to Sanitarium Hill, and we still spent an hour sitting in the truck.
We were overzealous on that one. We wanted to get there.
That's true. But we got some really cool shots, really cool photos and stuff, so that was awesome. As it got dark, we talked about some strategy. So we'd already gone down the road twice, so, 3 times the charm. And Frank and Jake decided, I guess all of us kind of talked about it, but like they were going to walk the tree tunnel. And I was going to go to the other end by the bridge and sit and wait. I couldn't figure out in my mind what was going to be more terrifying, going on the walk or sitting with the bridge to my back, waiting for them at the entrance of the tree tunnel. And you guys talk about what happened to you, and I'll follow up with
Okay. Well, I think the biggest, the best part of it was it's a neat walk when
It
you're
is, yeah.
actually walking down the the middle of the road because it is a back road where not a lot, we saw 4 cars, but that was over the hour and a half, 2 hours we were there. It's not a lot of vehicles. So
a car didn't even pass you guys on your walk
No.
until you were basically 10 feet in front of me.
Yep.
yeah, so Frank and I were basically able to walk down the middle of this road. It's almost like a footpath. That's how narrow it feels.
Yeah.
And so it's a neat place just to be. It's got a cool vibe to it. I think one of the, this time we actually, I don't know, I don't want to jump to conclusions, but it didn't start right away. But eventually something started following Frank and I.
Was
in
it
the bush.
after my taillights left?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I mean, it was...
Because I dropped you off, turned around,
Yep, it
and
was
then
after,
drove past you
it
guys
was after
again.
you passed us.
Okay.
And it was I think it was right about the time, the first time we stopped to do a voice record thing, and we started talking, and then you kind of hear it, and it was weird because it would not make noise, and then we'd be walking, and then you'd hear it, and then it went to the other side of the road, and it followed it all the way to, you heard it.
I heard after we were all back in the car heading back, we took another 2 times to kind of stop and test out these theories again. And I heard it. I mean, I honestly, as scared as I get, I also sometimes have a little bit of rationality that pokes through, and I was like, it's a critter.
Yeah, I mean, that's where your brain goes.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, I know you guys were like, oh, yeah, we got to tell you about that.
It was just weird that because it wasn't right away, and it was consistently following us.
And it was low, right? Like in the ditch.
Yeah, there's about I would say mid shin height kind of
Grass,
brush,
yeah.
grass. And it was right there, and it was always just slightly behind us. And then we'd turn and look in flashlights and check it out, and then nothing. We'd start walking, and then eventually it went to the other side of the road. So it was just a very strange. I'm sure it was just like a raccoon, maybe a cat, but it was just weird that it kind of waited. It seemed like it popped up as soon as we started asking questions to get a voice recording. So
I'd clarify that as maybe our first encounter, possibly.
I mean,
You got to stick around. You're good luck.
well, and here's the thing, and I want Frank to kind of bring this up because he mentioned it while we were walking, and I know you wanted to wait to get to the imp thing, but this is kind of relevant to this conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Frank kind of came up with a theory about what it might be, and I totally think it's a neat theory. So
yeah. I mean, when you think about like ghost stuff and hauntings, and you always think about someone dying or and leaving as they say unfinished business, and when you mentioned the imp thing, because when we first started walking, Jake was telling me the story and he was filling me in on all the
background.
Yeah, on the
history.
background, yeah. Which was really cool, and then he mentioned the imp, and I was like, that imp doesn't make any sense. Like, why would there be like a imp like demon? I mean, I guess it could.
I mean,
be a
truthfully,
demon,
I don't even know what an imp, like what the generic image of an imp looks like.
right. Well, like I think like short and kind of grotesque looking, and in the
like
lore,
a small troll.
right? Yeah, and in the lore they say that some of the kids actually burned with him. There were kids in the house, and they found the kids dead.
Was it that?
Yeah, look at that. Yeah, a little demon baby with a pitchfork and a tail. But that's what if these what if the kids were actually burnt so bad, and their ghosts are still burnt, and they look like imps?
So it's not an imp they see. It's one
the
of
ghost
the
of a
kids.
kid.
Huh.
And that to me was like, okay, that got me. Because it's one of those things where like an imp would be creepy. A little demon thing running around out there, some sort of creature. The cryptozoology side of me goes like, that's cool.
Yeah.
But it's completely unattached
Yeah.
to the myth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, considering the lore of the location and everything of that sort, like you're right, like an imp
I mean, it's
doesn't fit.
It's either the cause of what happened, like devilish play of some kind,
Right.
or it's completely unrelated and just a coincidence that it happened, like that it lives on this road.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of like, well, maybe it's not an otherworldly demon. It's one of these children that were supposedly murdered with this guy, and they're seeing their ghosts, and so it's kind of a thing of like, I kind of started picturing like, okay, maybe what's making this noise that's following us is just a kid being playful. Mm-hmm. And that was sort of my line of questioning that I went down, because first of all, I went to Mr. Weary and was like, maybe
That's him.
Yeah.
Pucker my butthole. He's coming after me.
No, but when we started questioning, I was like, I went the friendly route of Mr. Weary. You weren't a pedophile. It was a misunderstanding. Come tell me your side of the story.
And I guaranteed, I already know I didn't even have to be there. You two fucking stopped and you said that out loud on the EVP.
Oh, yeah. We stopped.
Yeah.
And then I went, okay, Mr. Weary, you pedophile piece of shit.
That's right. You were telling me.
You're a fuckhead who messed with kids. Be a fucking man and mess with me then. And I did what I did to you.
Touch my butt, Mr. Weary. Touch it.
I did what I did to you at Sanitarium Hill.
Grab my ass.
Where I said, show yourself by touching one of us. Frank was man enough to not be afraid of this.
That's a very, very wrong thing to even attempt to fucking...
Well, if he's a man.
Ew, you're a man. I'm not going to touch you.
I'm
You
too
didn't bring
hairy
the
for it.
boys.
And then I thought about it after Frank brought that up, though, and I started trying to talk to the kids.
Okay.
Because my thought was like, okay, well, maybe either A, because it's so traumatic
Yeah.
that their spirits are there, or if he was a pedophile, if he was the bad person that they said he was, maybe he's keeping them there.
Maybe his spirit's keeping him somewhere, yeah.
Yeah, so I attacked it from those three positions of
Okay.
friendly, agitative, and then trying to talk to the kids. Because once he brought that up, I was like, fuck yeah, maybe all the ghosts that they're seeing are these kids. So
I'd buy that for $1. I really would. Like that, I mean, that does make sense. Yeah, I mean, just thinking about like the cryptozoology stuff, like that location, in my mind, and this is not anything to do with the lore or anything like that, that is the perfect stretch of road for like a Wisconsin-style Jersey Devil.
yeah.
Like that's when I like picture any sort of cryptozoology creature that could be in that location. I picture like the Wisconsin version of a Jersey Devil.
Yeah, so if we go away from the Mr. Weary, which is sort of the main thing with that,
Yeah,
book,
yep.
and focus on like what this little thing could be, there is vast farm, just flat land.
Yeah.
But there is the tree tunnel, which is perfect. There, it's literally there's a canopy. You could live up there if you were
Yeah.
small enough. But there's also like by the bridge and kind of on the road there is a very like overgrown wooded area right there.
Mm-hmm.
That they're. I mean,
it's a whole habitat. Yeah, like it's. I mean, if it is some sort of like Wisconsin style mini Jersey Devil, it's got a cow head. Actually, no. I'm already gonna flat. I'm gonna be forward and front, and I'm just gonna be like, that was.
I like how you're like.
I'm not gonna waste my time even concocting that joke because it's just not gonna work out.
That's the best.
It's gonna
when you
fall
slam
flat
on the brakes to your.
It's gonna fall flat, and I'm gonna feel dirty about myself. I didn't have anything besides a cow head, so I was gonna sit there and have a bunch of dead air while I tried to think of something.
It's got a cow head. It wears a cheese hat. Its body is in the shape of a keg.
Yeah, it's got cheese curds, just legs and feet, legs, cheese curds,
And a beer in its hand.
Yeah.
See, it's funny, but I just love the fact that you're like, nope.
Oh no, I'm fully like I will fully on admit and stop in the middle. It's you've been with me before when I've done it. I'm just like, this isn't going anywhere. It's gonna be stupid. It's gonna fall flat, and I don't want to waste my energy on it right now. Like I
love it.
Yeah. So I mean, what else happened on the walk other than like the supposed imp following you? What else? I mean, like I said, the fireflies were out. So
See,
like, did that fuck with you guys as much as it fucked with me?
That's one thing I did notice and I commented on is it's strange because you see along like in the breaks of the trees, it looks like just like almost just a wall of fireflies. Like they're just very dense.
Yeah.
But they go from just like blinking on and off, on and off, on and off, and then you just see the one that like flies by and blinks on, blinks off. And just a strange contradiction.
Like super quick off in the distance, and then like close up, like just kind of slow blink off.
Well, and like together at the same time, like you'll see almost like a twinkling. It looks like a night sky's twinkling of stars, and then you just see that one sort of flashing as it flies by. And what I would say is a typical firefly, lightning bug sort of just like on off. So it was just a weird. I think it added to the atmosphere. Really,
Totally did. Yeah.
Did you guys hear anything? Any of that stuff? Like, it was a little breezy, so like, I mean, I heard a lot of just leaves blowing, rustling in the wind sort of thing.
The one thing we did hear the second we got out of the car, and not sure if it was a gunshot or if it was...
There's a couple of them off in the distance.
It just went like, pop, pop, like real quick, rapid. It could have been a gun. It could have been somebody working on something. It could have been a Sasquatch tree smack, because that's a common thought of how they communicate is they hit wood.
Tree knocking.
Tree knocking.
Tree knocking, yeah.
Really?
So
that's how we communicate. You humans got your 2 cans and a stick and a string.
Fuck you, ain't no Sasquatch.
We got trees and hollow hard hands.
That's my brain went to maybe it is a Sasquatch, because that's the tree knocking is a very common.
Yeah, I don't know if I heard it when you guys heard it, but I also heard very similar noise what you're talking about.
Yeah.
To me, it wasn't so much gunshots. It was like someone was working on their machine, like working on some sort of machine.
I mean, it could have been that.
That's what I heard, and
it was far off. So I mean,
I surprisingly rationalized that in my own head. I was like, all right,
because it was just strange that like we get out and you drive away and we just hear pop, pop, pop.
Yeah,
like
it
right
had a
away.
rhythm to it.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't
like almost like a nail gun.
Yeah, that could have been.
Yeah.
Or a giant furry creature communicating with other giant furry
Hey,
creatures.
there's some buttholes walking down our street.
Yeah.
Just leave them alone so they don't tell people about
Heads
us.
up, heads up. That's all right. They're looking for that touchy kid.
Yeah,
Ghost thing.
it's like Morse code, but with trees.
3 sharp knocks, leave them alone.
2 knocks, kill them.
Oh God.
1 knock, make yourself really blurry so they can't take a picture of you. Yeah, I mean, like we often do when we go on these probings. Jake and I have made a very strict point of like, when we're in the middle of stuff, we'll talk. Most of the time, it's Jake just making fun of me for being afraid, and he's never held my hand. But I mean, verbally, he's never even really verbally coddled me either. He's just kind of like, I gotta talk to ghosts, so like, give him a tape recorder, and I'm just like, hurry the fuck up, let's like go, like. The worst has been Sanitarium Hill. That's the worst it's been. Again, you listen to that episode out in the fucking woods with the fact that we're on the drug-addled side of town. Crackheads jump out and fucking get you. and fucking haunted fucking pig stalls. Oh, let's go to the hog farm. No.
Nick was a little bit braver tonight for one reason, I think. What did you bring this time that you didn't?
Oh, I brought my knife. Brought my knife to stab a ghost. Yeah, I have this hard fact knowledge that ghosts hate knives. So.
I mean, I'd hate to get stabbed in my...
Crackheads hate knives, though.
Yeah,
They do.
But crackheads don't give a shit about anything.
Just crack.
They're like, oh, you got a knife? I'm on crack. That's how they combat you with a knife. It's like bringing crack to a knife fight.
I'm on crack.
Because that's what they do.
I'm on the crack.
You'd be like, stab them, and they'll be like...
I'm on crack.
Shove it deeper into the...
Yeah, they grab it from you, and they're like, oh, yeah.
You stab him and it just...
Yeah.
It's crack.
powder.
Like LeBron at a basketball game, just powder. Yeah, I actually forgot about that most of the night too. It was in my blanket, I guess. But no, so then I debated for quite a while. I was like, okay, well, first off, who's gonna drive? Because Jake's gonna want to be around me if I'm freaking out, and Frank doesn't know where the fuck we are. So I was like, all right, well, I think it's going to be more terrifying to sit in this fucking car by myself. Fuck it. I don't care anymore. I do care, but it was the best option, you know. It was the option I had. So I dropped them off. And like I said, I was then doing the third pass. And I wasn't like, because it was still vaguely, like the sun was waning down, but there was still a lot of like light.
When you got out of the tunnel, it was kind of twilightish.
Yeah, so there was still, everything was kind of silhouetted, but there was enough light to still kind of keep me calm. Mm-hmm. And I got up to the bridge, and as I got closer to the bridge, I started getting more and more anxious. So I took that corner a lot fucking faster than I knew I should have. Because, and here's the funny part. So it wasn't even like I was actually weirdly like comfortable in the tunnel, and like the gap between the tunnel and the bridge, I was like fine. The part that I actually anticipated being the creepiest was, so when we were done with the first pass, when we were turning around on the second pass, and that little, there was just that, like for tractors to go to the other fields. Yeah. That stretch between there and the bridge where we saw, I don't know, probably raccoons. I don't know. Like when we were coming in, that area, out of everything tonight, that area creeped me out the most. I fucking floored it. I floored it down that chunk of the road. Like I took the corner off the bridge and I gunned it.
Yeah, we saw you drive away. We're like, oh, there he goes.
I was like, they probably think I'm just fucking leaving them. Like I'm just
we literally joked about like, well, Nick just said, "Fuck it, I'm out." And
you guys you just heard the car just like, man, just take off.
Well, because like I expected you to go to the bridge and just there's enough room. With
there's at the corner of the bridge. There's another little inlet that you can it just dips into a cornfield and you can turn around.
Yeah,
and I told you guys both. I was like, I'm not sitting in there with my fucking. I'm not doing that. So
I at least figured that's where you would turn around, and then I just see you going down the road. I'm like, nah, he's fucking off.
No, well, okay. So there was the anxiety of that, but then I was also curious about the dog, because the last time we were there, this fucking ghost. I'm still thinking it's a ghost dog, because I didn't see him this time.
It's true. And he did just sort of come out of nowhere.
Yeah. Well, like I told you, the corner of my glasses, I can see them out of my peripherals. And they always catch the light in the weirdest way. And that night, like, I thought I caught it, but it was actually a dog running. It scared the shit out of us. That was the excitement of the first trip. That was the first part. That was the excitement of the night. So I was like, well, you know, maybe I'll see this ghost dog. So I might as well. I'm just going to, I'm not going to stop at that fucking driveway and turn around. Like, fuck that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm going to go to someone's house and turn around. So I went down there and I turned around. And then I gunned it back because I was like, it's one side is just thick woods, and then the other side is like the ditch, the brook,
creek,
and then cornfield or field of some sort. So, but the side that's got all the thick brush is just this is creepy. Yeah. I don't like it because like it's the type of like wooded area where like no kidding, like no joke. Anything could just step out at a moment's notice and you wouldn't see it. Like, even in the tree tunnel, the trunks are so far apart I mean, there's 10, 15 feet between trunks. There's enough space to see in between them. Not on this side. It is just thick brush.
No, this is what you typical overgrown side of the road.
Yeah, like the image that conjured up in my mind had nothing to do with any of the lore, anything tonight, was the scene in Signs. Yes. And I reference this all the time because of what happened when we were in Chippewa, where they first see the alien. And the Brazilian kids are like, behind the trees! Behind the trees! Behind. And he just, behind! Vamonos, children, vamonos! And to this day, that line, it bothers me, but it tickles me. I'm like, what the fuck, Joaquin? Like vamonos, children, vamonos!
I don't care what you say. I want to hit it hard on that one. I loved it.
Yeah, it is just a funny little thing. But that scene where the alien steps out from the garage, that shit could have legit just happened with as thick as this brush is, and you wouldn't have saw it. Like,
so funny thing. Both times that we've gone to this, speaking of Signs, you know the part where he sees him and he sees the leg in the
yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's what those trees remind me of, and I'm just waiting for just
that was
like,
cornfield though in the
right,
movie.
but the trees in the tunnel. Yeah. Every time we go through it, I was just like, all I'm wanting to see is just like that little bit, like, what is that? It looks kind of like a leg, and then it steps back.
Oh
like,
yeah,
get the fuck out of here! Like that's where my brain goes. So it's funny that Signs is everywhere.
I mean, I that movie still terrifies me. I've watched it probably once every year since it's come out, and
So you're saying we should go watch it right now?
No.
Yeah.
No, that movie fucking. That movie scares me, man. Like, that's the dumbest movie to be scared of, but. Man, fucking aliens, man. Like, they
didn't want the kids watching it. They were getting obsessed.
Oh, man.
Oh,
so, yeah, so I don't know.
How was your experience alone in the car then? We didn't
okay, so when I finally parked, right? So, like.
And you didn't park on the bridge.
No. I was not fucking parking on the bridge. I wasn't parking in the fucking corner. I had a 5-second debate with myself about parking on the pentagram, but I did not because I was like, that inviting bad fucking juju. And actually on the way after I dropped you guys off and I was heading towards, like, away from you, I was like, all right, well, I'm going to try the radio. Like, because, that's a big thing with, like, EVP and stuff like that. Radio, that sort of stuff. And this is actually when my anxiety just went like this. Because I'm listening to the radio, and I don't have it loud. I just have it, like, I rolled the window up and stuff, and I had the radio kind of go on a little bit, and I heard this, like, high-pitched, like, squeal, like, Wee! It wasn't like an animal sound. It was like a mechanical sound.
Right.
But I was like, was that the car? I've never heard that noise. It didn't make it the rest of the night.
And the car was off.
No. This was when I was driving away with the radio on.
Did it sound like it came from the radio?
That's what I was trying to figure out. I was like, was that from the fucking radio? Because it was a commercial at that time, and I was like, wait, what? I was like, what? But then all of a sudden, just the fear took over, and that's when I fucking got across the bridge, turned the corner, and gunned it.
So, question, just for context, best estimate: were you near, over, past the pentagram?
I was between. So I was past the bend.
Okay.
Because there's in the tree tunnel, there's you guys actually being there in person said it was a lot bigger than it actually is. But when you're driving, it's a seemingly small bend in the trail or the tunnel.
Yeah, you don't really notice how that is until you see a car coming.
Yeah, in the darkness, a car coming straight on. We lost it for a good 15 seconds.
Because it's literally, it looks like you're straight on with it, and then all of a sudden you're off enough where the other car almost disappears.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and that did happen. So I was past the bend.
Okay.
But I wasn't fully out of the tree tunnel yet. So I was somewhere between the bend and the pentagram.
Okay.
When that happened. Because like I said, that's when the anxiety kicked in. That's when I fucking gunned it around the corner and gunned it down the road. And then that was like, yeah.
Because see, in full disclosure here, like, I don't believe in, like, God, heaven, all that stuff, so demons and things. Mm-hmm. Whatever those things aren't Satan related as far as, like, typical idea of it. But the fact that someone would spray paint a very detailed, very prominently placed pentagram,
yeah,
invites some bad juju in my estimation.
Well, that's why I didn't park there.
And it's right at the base of the tunnel, which is all the more like they're like, we know. And so that's why I'm curious if the fact that it probably was pretty close to
I mean, it wasn't your like typical radio static like that sort of thing. It was just like a weird squeal, or just like a high pitched, not even 5 seconds, like 2 or 3 seconds. And I was just like questioning, like, was that part of the commercial? And I don't even remember what the commercial was at that point. Like, it was just
See, and my brain goes to like whenever you do think of or see demonic sort of representation, especially like in movies and stuff, the big thing that they use is pigs.
Yeah, no, it was nothing like an animal. It was not like an animal squeal at all. This was a purely mechanical. The window was up, and the radio was on, and I don't think I had the AC on either, so it wasn't have been like the belt or anything like that, like
right.
or the fan or any of that. Like it was. I legit questioned, did that come from the radio, or was that something else? Like that, I don't know. That was like again, that kicked in the anxiety.
Well, even if it came from the radio, it could have been.
I mean, it still caught me off guard and startled me. So it was like, ugh.
I mean, there's constant. I mean, electrical.
Well, it was right by a radio tower, so like.
Well, and even if it came from the speakers through the radio,
right,
it could have been from something manipulating your stereo.
Yeah, exactly.
So
or driving through a field, if you will, a field of something, or an
yeah,
essence of something.
Yeah. So then so I turned around and I got over the bridge and I came back and I parked past the pentagram, between the pentagram and the start of the tunnel. And this was when it was pretty well starting to get dark.
Yeah.
And I was, I think something that helped distract me was the fact that I was just doing the Snap Story. Like, even though while I was doing the Snap Story, I had to like, first off, I had to turn I need to remember to start doing this, but I had to turn my brightness down because I was like, I did a snap. I was like, fuck, my eyes. And I looked at the rear view mirror and I couldn't see shit. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, okay. So I looked down and I dimmed it way down and I looked up again. And I checked that fucking mirror a lot. I mean, I had turned the cars off and I turned the lights off so it wouldn't fuck with you guys. And I turned the car on one time, and you might have saw the dome light come on from a distance, but not the headlights, because I was like, oh, I should probably roll the window down just to listen. Like, not super thrilled about having to do this.
So you're braver than I am in that
keys were in the ignition. I was ready to go, like, at a moment's notice. I was ready to, like, even if it was just, like, the cop that passed us before had come up, like, sneakily came up behind me and was like, what are you doing? I would have been like, ah! Just taking off. I would have been like, nothing. Like, just like, whoa. I would have fucking gunned it. Like, I sat there and I did, like, I just listened. Like I said, it was just like the wind was blowing and stuff. I mean, kept checking the mirrors. And like I said, I truthfully wanted to put a good chunk of distance between me and that bridge in that corner. Because, I mean, trolls live under bridges and other shit lives under bridges. And I just, dude, that pentagram, that bridge, that corner, just shit I didn't want to fuck with. So I wanted enough distance between me and that. And like I said, I was distracting myself with snapping. I talked a little bit about, like, I'm not sure what would scare me more to find out was true, is if, like, some sort of creature imp was the cause of everything, or if it was something more along the lines of, like, Old Man Weary. Like, I just kind of backed and forth with myself a little bit, just like, I don't know, like, I don't know what I would find more spooky or not, and I saw your guys' lights off in the distance, and I'd see them periodically, and then for a good chunk of time, I didn't see anything, and then there'd be like fireflies, and be like, that's not them. Oh, that's not them. Oh, that's not them. And then I could see the red light of the voice recorder for a good distance. And that's how I knew, because when I didn't see the light for a long time, because Natalie was right, I had you pegged, and I knew you two would probably instigate each other to do this. So I was prepared for it to happen, and it didn't. But I was like, those two are going to sneak off into the woods and, like, flank me and scare the fucking living Christ out of me. Like, I guarantee that's what they're going to do. So when I didn't see the light it was like a good 5 minutes. I didn't see the light. But then I saw the light of the voice recorder. I was like, okay, they're not going to do it. they're fine. And that's when you guys were maybe another 5 minutes away from me at that point.
Never crossed my mind.
It crossed my mind.
I know it
Definitely
crossed your
my
mind.
mind.
I know it did. I was like, that son of a bitch is going to be a dick. And...
See, the funny thing
No,
is...
Dottie's a wonderful woman.
The funny thing is I would never think to do that, but if Frank had been like, I got an idea, I've been like, okay, let's do it.
That's what I was saying. Like, either one of you would have had that idea. I know the other one would have been like, yeah, let's do it. But by all...
See, now I thought you were going to do something to us because I thought you were going to be parked down by the bridge.
Oh, right.
And as we were coming up, it seemed like you were much closer. And so I was focused really on the car. And for me, it looked like the car was coming closer, like with the headlights off, like just like. And I was like, is he coming at us?
I put the car in neutral and I was pushing it at you guys.
It's funny because I said it to Frank when you turned around and came up from behind us to go down, and you slowly went by. I was like, it's going to be really scary, Frank, when we turn around and that's not Nick.
Right. Yeah.
And he's right. You could see your car at a certain distance, and it was like you could tell it was there. And I'm like, man, what if that's not fucking Nick? Like Nick's fucking, he's gone, and there's just somebody waiting for us down at the end of the road.
Well, when I dropped you off and turned around, I didn't realize how far in that I dropped you guys off at. So I was like, oh, fuck, they're gone. I was like, oh, shit. Like, I didn't see you guys when I anticipated seeing you. So I was like, oh, man. Okay, maybe they're hiding and they're just going to jump out because they know I got to pass them. But I was like, no, they're not going to do that. For Jake's too focused on trying to get shit, catch a ghost. So he's not going to do that.
Well, and I don't want to scare you too much because I could see me jumping out and be like, blah, and you'd be like, fuck it, I'm done.
Well, yeah, but then I also would have just ran you over with the car on accident too. like
Sasquatch out into the middle of the road and I got you. Oh my god.
like Jake's like, I'm gonna jump out and scare him. Jake versus Nick. Yeah, I'd quit the show. Jake versus Nick in a car. Didn't mean to kill you. Jake has now been absorbed into the weary realm.
Jake now haunts me.
But no, it did. Like, it crossed my mind for a hot second. I was like, they're fucking gone. Like, they vanished. They're just poof.
Old man Weary got us.
Well, and then because it was just starting to get dark too, and I was like, oh wait, there they are.
Hold on, now that I'm rational, 20 seconds later.
Yeah, that's exactly how it went too.
No, it was interesting, and like I said, that thing that followed us, to me, my rational brain goes raccoon,
critter,
cat, something. Yep. My fun side though goes, fuck no, that was a fucking something was in that brush. It was following us. It was fucking with us. It was curious as to what we were and what we were doing out there.
No, I do like the theory you brought up. I like that idea that it's kids that play. Yeah,
and that would play into it being playful. And following us, and no one probably really walks out on that road.
I would say that the people who live there,
at night.
Nobody walks out there trying to talk to them.
Right.
Did you expect to run into a woman at 9 o'clock at fucking Sanitarium Hill walking her dog?
I still don't believe that woman actually existed. She never came back. Did you see her come back?
No.
Fuck no.
So but did you see that other group of kids come back?
Fuck no. Yeah. None of them were real. They fucking walked through and just disappeared into the woods.
That could be.
They went to the hog pens.
Yeah, never came back. Actually,
fucked, Frank. Fucked real hard.
I told you this earlier in the week, but one of my coworkers lives out really close to there. She was like, "Oh yeah, I heard you were in Weary Road. You're in my backyard." And I was like, "Oh, cool." And I was like, "So right on there?" Because again, Jake mentioned this in the one podcast. He's like, "I love Excited Nick because he fucks over Scared Nick so bad." So Excited Nick was like, "Oh, dude, if her property is on Weary Road, let's fucking camp out." That's what Excited Nick said. Terrified Nick would have been a whole different sack of fucking salt.
Oh, Terrified Nick would have been pissed too, because my thing would have been we're camping out there, but we ain't bringing a fucking tent. Fuck that shit. We're sleeping bags because we got to see some shit. Okay,
first off, I'm going to call bullshit on you because Mr. has to douse myself in fucking mosquito spray. You would have been like, no, we're going to tent.
That's fair.
And this tent is going to be made out of nothing but DEET. It's not even, it's just all DEET.
It's just a couple poles.
So I'm going to call bullshit on that claim.
I didn't think of the bugs.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right.
Hey, Did he when he was talking to Mr. Weary on the EVP, did he stop and ask Mr. Weary if when he was alive the bugs existed then too?
That is not what I asked
No.
those nurses.
Oh, he didn't ask that?
No.
Oh, because, yeah, when we were at Sanitarium Hill, he stopped and he asked the nurses there, because it used to be an old TB ward. And he said, oh, yeah. And I say he uses his dad voice. He's got daughters, so he uses his sweet dad voice. He was like, were you a patient here? Did you work here? We just want to talk to you. Would it be easier if you could talk to one of our female friends? Are we intimidating? Were there bugs here when you were here?
That is not exactly how I asked that question. It was more of trying to start a conversation of if the bugs were as big a problem, because we were getting eaten alive.
No, it was, hey, did bugs exist when you were here? That's what he asked.
Nick, in all of his salty gloriness that night, latched onto the one thing. He's like, I can make fun of him for this.
You got to have something.
Fucking dumbass.
Here's the thing. You can't hurt me. I'm already telling the people out there I'm a coward. You think you telling me you calling me a coward all 13 episodes this season is going to bother me? No. Yeah, I'm going to latch onto those little nuggets.
I just get too into it.
I know. It was great. But, so I lost my train of thought there for a second. I think all in all, it was, like I said, I think I found a quarter of my balls, and it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Now, there is a 90% chance a part 3 of this is happening, because we are trying to figure out what the
legend goes.
The legend goes.
You see the stuff, you experience the things on the 3rd trip. Now we have put it to
We
the
haven't.
test.
Well, that's the thing. We haven't.
We've put it to the test on the idea of by 3rd trip we've turned around at either end of
Right.
Weary Road.
And the other thing we haven't done is done like the whole 15-mile loop. There's so many like moving parts to the lore that I'm just like, what?
Because Weary Road itself isn't actually super long,
Right.
and it has a clear like it's not it you turn onto
It
Weary
ends in
Road,
a T.
and you can turn off of Weary Road, and so we have to put it to the test of, do we need to physically leave the site to count as a 3rd trip? So there will be a part 3.
There's going to be a part 3. The one factor of part 3 that I don't know that I'm fully on board with is Jake wants to bring a Ouija board. We'll discuss it. Maybe we'll put it to a vote on the socials and see if I can get some people in my court to not do it.
No, I mean, I think if we can get something spiritually
Well, I
attached
know
to us,
I know you, and I know you're fucking the asshole that would put the goddamn Ouija board on the pentagram.
I didn't even think of that. That wouldn't have never crossed my mind until now. That's what we're doing. Oh, shit. See, my brain went to, I already saw it when you're walking down the road. There's the trees and there's a couple of stumps. There's one that's at like perfect.
Yeah, like dinner table height.
Yeah, no, fuck it. Now we're sitting in the middle of the road on the fucking pentagram, and then we're doing the tree stump.
But here's the thing. When we're sitting in the middle of the road on the pentagram with the Ouija board, cars are going to come by. We got to yell, "Game on!
Car!
Car!"
Oh, fuck. Well, and with that, we're going to have to bring a couple extra people, because
Yeah, because I don't think you can do a Ouija board with 2 people.
you're not supposed to. I don't think it works that way. You need at least 3.
I just don't want to.
Plus for me, I ideally wouldn't want to actually like be involved in it, because I want to be looking out and I want to be filming it. And
Oh, so you don't want to actually have shit latch onto you. You want to be the guy on the outside being like, "Oh, I'm demon free. I'm demon free. Nothing's latched on to me." It's these other fucking jerks that they're the ones that are getting roped into it.
I mean,
like,
I'll do it. I'll touch it. I don't even care. Bring it.
dude, that's
I didn't even think
I
the
mean-
pentagram thing though. That's happening for 100%, son. 100% gonna happen.
I don't know. That and the possibility of there's one hangnail of mythology that we haven't really explored or probed is the train tracks.
Yeah.
And again, Excited Nick tonight was like, "Hey, let's do how that song says, and meet in the middle."
Yeah.
We'll start on one end, I'll start on the other, and we'll meet in the middle. And yeah, again, thinking about it right now, I'm not that fucking up for that idea.
So okay, little sidetrack on this. When you brought up, because I saw some mention of some stuff, but the idea that there's a ghost train out there, my brain goes to, did y'all watch Hey Arnold?
Yeah.
There's that episode where Grandpa is talking about the ghost train, and they get on it, and like you go to the engine, and it's the fires of hell, and the door opens, and Arnold and Gerald get on this train, and it's spooky and it's haunted, and there's the ghost conductor and all. It was my favorite episode of that show. And when you're like, there's a ghost train, there's the railroad tracks, my brain instantly went to, we get on the train and the doors open and it's fires of hell. Let's do this. So I'm all for a nightly train walk.
I'm gonna ruin your childhood for a quick second, and I'm not even trying to fuck with you, but the fact that you brought up Hey Arnold is a little kismet, because I've never seen a picture of Mr. Weary.
Yeah.
But the image that conjures up in my mind's eye
Grandpa?
is Grandpa from Hey Arnold. That's exactly like a live action version of Grandpa from Hey Arnold. It's exactly how I think Mr. Weary looked.
I'm sure he does now.
Oh God. Ugh. It's that crossed with the old Hubert, the pervert from Family Guy.
Oh, you want some Candy Crush?
Yeah, it's like somewhere in the middle of those two is how I feel like Mr. Weary looked.
That's
So,
yeah. I'm on board with this. So, I guess Nick, you can dread it, and everyone else can have fun. Look out for part 3 coming. Not sure when we're gonna get to that, but
it might be a season 2 thing. We'll keep you posted on it. You'll know for sure. Well, with that, Jake, do you have anything else you would like to touch on before we get to scooting here?
No, I am going to start. I'm going to go over. We have a good 40-ish minutes at least of 2 audio recordings that Frank held and I held during our walk.
So you have 80 minutes of audio recording you have to go through.
Something like that. Some minutes. So if we catch anything on there,
We'll let you know.
I'll probably attach it to this video.
No, that's true. I guess we are.
Yeah. If I can do that, because I'll definitely look at it before we release this. So.
All right.
I just real quick wanted to bring up the picture of the Hey Arnold. That's the conductor.
Oh, jeez.
And the ghost train.
The accordion.
So yeah, let's find that guy. But otherwise, no, I'm good.
You need to save that so we can throw it on the socials for this episode.
I'm down for that. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but that was fun. Frank, did you have fun?
Yeah, Frank,
I had a great
do you have
time.
anything else to follow up with?
No, thanks for bringing me on an adventure, guys.
Thanks for being on the show. We've tried to figure out who or how we were going to do a guest, and
No, I think this worked out
I'm happy
well.
you were the first one, because the thing we did talk about is if we take anyone on a probing with us, we want to have them on the show, obviously, to get their
share your side of it.
experience and stuff like that. So,
And one thing too, because I guess real quick before we end, because I've asked Nick this at the end of every episode that we've done, but do you think Weary Road could be haunted? What do you think?
Oh, okay, yeah, some up.
Yeah, maybe. I could see maybe, but I could also see it being hyped up for just the trees. I mean, the tunnel itself is really cool, and I'm happy I went out with you guys to see that. I just thought it was a really cool stretch of road. But yeah, maybe.
That's the one on the scale talking.
Yeah, that's my one.
Do you think it's haunted? I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, because my answer to that is fuck yeah, it's haunted. There's something out there.
My answer is, I believe what my eyes and ears report. That's why I reside at 2. I don't know. I'm test driving that.
Is that your new sign off?
No, not even my sign. I actually wrote down a sign off.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, but there's a quote I heard, and I was like, I believe what my eyes and ears report, and I'm pretty sure it came from Game of Thrones, because I'm pretty sure that's where the next one comes from too. But I like it, because I'm always like, I don't know, I gotta see shit to believe it, and I'm just like, that's kind of I like the way that rolls off the tongue. I believe what my eyes and ears report. That's why I sit at a 2.
Fair enough. No.
So, as always, thanks for listening and supporting. We're on all the main social platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram,
Grindr,
Tinder, Christian Mingle, Plenty of Fish,
Farmers Only.
Do we get a new one at all?
There's the Mr. Weary searches, but we don't really.
No, that's the dark web. We don't fuck around with that. That's
We got a special VPN for that.
yeah. But yeah, all the major socials. Snapchat, it's America Scaryland, because fuck you, Snapchat. Wouldn't let me put America in there,
They don't believe in America.
I guess not. So it's MURIKA Scaryland. Follow us so you can keep up with us while we do Probings live.
If you have anything that happened to you that you want to share, you can hit us up on the social media, or you can email us at
americascaryland@gmail.com.
1S.
1S because the America and the Caryland share custody of that S.
That joke is
Never going to get old. Never going to get old.
That's right up there with the Grindr Tinder joke.
I know. I do have one shout out that is, I've been trying to remember to get this on an episode, but big shout out to Beth and Michael for a lot of help that they've given us over the last couple episodes. They were like the main driving force for Sanitarium Hill. Mm-hmm. Like, Michael put his big boy pants on and sent an email out on our behalf. Beth like grew up around there, and like, yeah, so you guys, thank you. Really appreciate it. Stepping up and being fucking kick ass. And actually, they would have been our first guests had, they had some stuff come up that they couldn't make it that day.
Pretty sure they thought we were going to get killed by crackheads, and they were going to let it happen.
Yeah, I bet you when we see Beth again, she'll be like, oh yeah, I don't want to go because of the crackheads.
Yeah.
And Michael would have been like, I wanted to go because of the crackheads.
Yeah, he's like, I needed some crack, and that's the best place to
No,
go.
I don't think that. I'm just thinking Michael would have been like, oh, real life crackhead? I've never seen one. Never seen
a ghost. Yeah, not at school.
Yeah. So that.
So you have a new sign off?
Yeah, and I just looked at it. It's not from Game of Thrones. It is one that I just thought up. But
okay.
Yeah. So I've been Nick.
I've been Jake.
Frank, thanks for coming along.
Thank you.
And this state is creepier than you know. Just mad that was good.